The middle. Big mood episode 4 begins with Maggie telling Will he has to run the bar to unite against the common enemy, Jonah. She tells him that he swoops in every time Eddie is feeling vulnerable and they need to stop him, and Maggie has a plan to take Eddie away from him for a bit, but only if Will can run the bar. He reluctantly agrees to do so. Jonah and Eddie are in bed, and he raises an issue he has with Maggie, insisting that he doesn't think it's right she has access to Eddie all the time. He insists she's being held back and mentions owning the bar together and how he is ready to settle down with her. Maggie messages Eddie to tell her she's having a bipolar emergency, but this proves to be a ruse, as when they meet up, she's not manic, but instead, she's dragging her along to a weird pagan festival of rebirth. They approach the train station and meet up with a woman known as Toad, who is going along with them. When they reach their destination, Eddie says she needs to call Will to check on him at the bar, but she actually calls Jonah to tell him she's at a pagan festival in East Sussex. Jonah reminds her that he's willing to invest a lot of money to save her business, and she has big girl stuff to sort out. At the festival, Eddie reveals to Maggie that she wants children one day, which takes her by surprise as it's the first time she's heard her talk like this. She also tells an apprehensive Eddie that she needs to trust her today and just try to enjoy the festival as they begin to explore their new surroundings. They meet a godlike man known as the Pagan Wizard, who takes a liking to Eddie and tells her may your day be filled with blessings and to spread your wings and fly. Eddie kisses Maggie and thanks her for dragging her here, and Maggie breaks out in a rant, telling Eddie that Jonah doesn't deserve her as he's controlling and patronizing and she's perfect and deserves someone like Harry Styles. Eddie reveals that Jonah has offered to buy the bar, and she wants Maggie to back her with whatever decision she makes. However, he hasn't replied to her last few texts, and Maggie confesses that she blocked his number on her phone, with Eddie storming off in a mood. Next up, a weird group approaches Maggie, and one woman tells her she's the bitch who had sex with her cousin's husband, the headmaster from episode 1. A fight breaks out between both groups. While this fight is kicking off, Eddie calls Jonah to explain why she hasn't responded. Turns out, he's got another woman around his house. She tells him she hopes he gets Ebola and dies. The police turn up to break the fight up and ask both groups if they have the appropriate permits for the event. At this point, the Pagan Wizard turns up and threatens the copper, whom he knows, and they promptly leave. Eddie tells Maggie it's all her fault for her losing her bar and tells her she doesn't need her anymore, or Jonah for that matter. Rather, she needs some space. The episode ends with Eddie back at the bar, where she does a pregnancy test in the toilet. It turns out she's pregnant. The episode review. This was a strange episode that involved Maggie and Eddie going to a pagan festival that ended in some hilarious hair-pulling and big confessions. There is something brewing between Maggie and Eddie that hints at a possible attraction between them, which is interesting heading into the final 2 episodes. There is great chemistry between them, and they are intriguing characters to follow. There is the usual balance of comedy and drama, and it's another decent watch.